Hello, parents. I wanted to send you some resources to practice for DIBELS at home. DIBELS is Dynamic Indicators of Basic Early Literacy Skills, and it's a measure that we use in the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year to measure how students are doing with reading skills. And there are a few different measures during the administration of the test, and they're all administered by a teacher with your child, and most of them have a 1 minute time limit. So it's kind of seeing what your child can do quickly and seeing how their skills are sharpening up as the school year goes on. So for kindergarten, for letter naming fluency, um, this is a sample of what letter naming fluency might look like. And we just begin, and your child just names the letters as quickly as they can. And once they get the hang of it, they go really fast. So as long as they know all of their letter names, you could practice those at home. And then the font that they use is called Rockwell, and this will be what the letters will look like for their test. Um, so the teacher would introduce the test and say, you're going to name your letters for me. And if the child stumbles on a letter, that we wait 3 seconds and then we move on. We give them the letter and move on, and that would be marked incorrect if they did not name that letter. So the student would just say D, J, M, P, B, U, N, D, Q, N, M, J, and so on, and go for 1 minute, at which time the teacher would mark where the student stopped. The goal for the beginning of the year was 25 or more to be in the blue. And for the middle of the year, the goal goes up by 12 letters to 37 or more letters that they name. And at the end of the year, the goal will be 42 letters that students will name. So I'm going to send this document to parents to be able to practice and just kind of see where your child is at. And you can count how many they were able to name in 1 minute. The next measure that I want to talk about is called nonsense word fluency. And this is a sample of nonsense words that your child might be asked to read during the NWF measure. And they can earn points by either just saying each sound like this, b, av, and the teacher would just denote that the child was naming the sounds. Or they can blend the word, b, av, bav. So they would get a point for each sound and then a point for that whole word. F. They would get the points for the correct letter sounds, and if they blend it, mef, they would get a point for the whole word. If when they get to the point where they no longer need to blend it out loud, they can just kind of blend it in their head and say jip. They will get the whole word score, but that will, if they go through and read all the words, that will get them a great score, and they will also get the correct letter sounds for reading those words. They don't have to say f if they're ready to just say mef, jip, lam, zep. That will produce a great score for them. So usually in kindergarten at the beginning, students, before they have a lot of blending experience, will just go along saying each letter sound and not even blend. And that's okay at the beginning. But you can see in the beginning of the year, the goal is 20 or more correct letter sounds. And for the beginning of the year, there's no expectation of them to be blending the sounds into words. But for the middle of the year, we see that the benchmark is risen up to 36 correct letter sounds, and also 9 words need to be blended to be benchmarked. So this will be a great way to measure where your child is at, or to help them. You can use this list to practice blending. I've also sent out a lot of blending videos And for this, we don't want the kids to repeat the word twice. We just want them to say b, av, bav, f, meth, j, ip, jip, l, lom. Now, when a word is a CVC word, meaning it's a consonant, vowel, consonant word, the vowel will always be short. So this A would say ah, the E would say eh, the I would say I, the O would say ah, and the U would say That's one thing I've noticed that students, it's kind of a misconception. A lot of students would say loam. But if they do that when you're practicing, remind them this is a closed syllable and the O would say ah. So when it's a CVC word, we need to keep the vowels short. Usually with A and E and I, they do a good job, but I see a lot of students say O for O, and they need to say ah. And I also notice a lot of students say ya for or you for So we want to remind them to say v, t. So as you work with them on that, you'll see a great improvement. The next measure is phoneme segmentation. During phoneme segmentation, the students don't look at anything. There's no paper for them to look at. The teacher gives them a word, and they're going to segment into individual phonemes. So I just made a list of words to practice, and your child may want to tap the words out. So for dim, they could say im, nap, app, cup, k, up, bit, it, red, ed, dig, ig. And there's no need for them to repeat the word because that will just waste part of their 1 minute time. So if you can get them kind of in a rhythm of, you give them a word, they say it right back to you in sounds. You can start with all familiar words that they know, like dog, dog, sheep, sheep. Just whatever comes to your mind, have them blend, and try and get them in that kind of quicker rhythm. That always works well. And if you do a little bit a day, before you know it, they'll be really segmenting really well. This is a great measure to help them with their spelling because if they can do the sounds app, then they can spell the word nap easy peasy. So it's really great. The benchmark goal for the middle of the year for this, which is what's coming up, is 43 sounds in a minute. So I know that if we work on it at school and work on it at home, I know they're going to just really see a big increase in their score. And the last one is word reading fluency. This is a sample of words that your child might be asked to read during the word reading fluency measure of DIBELS. They kind of pull the words from sight words and words that your child will encounter often in early reading. So I just had to dig a little bit, do some research on what types of words they choose for this. So a lot of them we haven't introduced yet. So that's where reading every night together and, taking turns, I read, you read, or reading the same book over and over again, they will start to recognize some of these words. The goal for the upcoming measure is 10 plus words. So even though we haven't introduced some of these, they need to read 10 words from this list within the minute. So I see the thing that slows them down is sounding them out. And I think that just reading nightly and also just reading the same book over and over maybe till they're able to read it too, they'll start to recognize some of these words because these are not sight words that we have addressed I'm sure they'll be able to sound out at easily and not, not. But words like you, that's a sight word we've done. How, we have not done yet. So we just practicing this list will kind of get them ready, and just reading every night will get them ready as well. So keep hanging in there with that, and I know that the word reading fluency will also come up. And you can use this word list, of course, to practice. This is not the actual word list that they will be using for DIBELS, but I tried to find words that occur in early reading commonly, to kind of give a sampling, because I can't see the words that will be offered on DIBELS next measure, and if I could, I wouldn't be able to share them. So this is just kind of a sampling of words that they see in early reading. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy these resources and use them. Have a great night, and thank you.
Hey, Mom.